So today we are heading to Bishop Gatimo Girls in Nyeri County, and it's going to be a talent show, and I'm super excited. I'd love to see the different sorts of talents out there. I want to see excitement and passion, of course, for the talent and the gifts the different people have that I'm going to meet today. And of course, to just hear stories, it's always interesting. Anytime you go and meet new people, there's always a story or something you will learn. So I'm looking forward to the lessons of the day. I'm looking forward to interacting with different people and hearing different stories and just having, real conversations and just learning from each other. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to see what's in store. Yes. Back in the day when I was in high school, I was in Machakos Girls, Machakos Girls High School. Ilikuwa najita sijui ni California Girls ama MacG. I think that was before. But in all honesty, I'm not sure whether tulikuanga na talent show back in the day. But I feel it's very refreshing in this generation to have such things, because we've gotten to a point that your talent can actually pay you and you just never know. Your talent could be your future career and can take you down a lane of purpose and a lot of self-fulfillment. So talent is something I've come to really appreciate. For me, everything that I do right now, it's actually from the talent that God has given me and the gifts God has given me, in all honesty. So talent can take you a long way. So I'm super excited. Can't wait to see. But nowadays I don't think tulikuanga nazo. I just remember music festivals, hizo mafunky za kwenda. I don't know whether we had a talent show. I'm trying to think about it, but I'm honestly not sure. If you're in MacG and you're watching this, please let me know. Me, I'm class 2011. So kama ulikuanga hizo enzi, hebu tuambie kama tulikuwa na talent show. Maybe nimezeeka, my mind is not thinking, but I can't remember for now. I can't remember. I don't know whether we had a talent show. I don't remember. Did we have a talent show? Eish, I can't remember. Chawata nikumbusha watu wa hiyo class. I just remember funkies. I don't know. Maybe we did. Well, so Nyeri. Today, apart from the talent show, we're also going to be doing some ground activation for Cortex. Cortex, they have really nice sanitary pads and, all things to do with feminine hygiene and destigmatization. So, I'll say this, for the longest time, people had this idea of, if you're having your period, it's like a taboo. It's like something you should never talk about publicly. You should not even mention it to a male. You should not. It's quite crazy. And for the longest time, women, young girls actually thought this was okay and it was normal. But the reality is this is something that happens to every single girl, woman, grandmother. It has happened to all of us. And even to the generation to come, it's still going to happen. So I'm grateful to the fact that, Cortex has decided to, face this head on and bring the conversation to the girls in high schools. And of course, they are open to, the partnerships to make sure that the message is out there. Young girls are reached. The conversation is going. And, they're just taking their social responsibility pretty well. But when you look at other brands, as in the ones who are very invested in things to do high schools that are not really doing something. Because I say this, anytime you give back, it's you doing more than you're supposed to do and you being, and you making purpose bigger than yourself. Because that means you have to care about other people, their well-being, and, for you to put in the effort, the time, the resources to get things done. So I'm grateful for a company like Cortex, for them coming on board and deciding to go all out and do this. This is super amazing. And I hope other corporates, and other companies will decide to do the same thing and support and do right by society. And not just keep on taking and taking and taking and taking. You know what I'm saying? But this is super exciting, and it actually just reminded me of a story. There's a school we went to, and the saddest thing is right now we are fighting a crisis of early pregnancies, and there's a particular school. Some girls were like, they're being bought for ankle socks. Do you know ankle socks? Ankle socks, they're those two socks tudogo twenye watu vanga. Now if you find them wholesale ama usiku tao zikiuzwa zinaweza kwa 20 bob ama 30 bob. But kawaida hawkers watakuzia 50 bob ankle socks. And there are girls who are bought for ankle socks, and that's how walipatiana and they got pregnant. And now they're not in school. These are real stories. These stories too tuna make up. These are real stories. The girls were sharing. And I was like, really? And then another story was some girls walikuwa, because they wanted to get sanitary pads, and they were ashamed of going to ask their parent, not even parent, because the mom knows, the father figures, the ones who are providing for the family, they were so afraid to go and ask them for money to go and buy, that they went to a boyfriend, quote, and told him they wanted to buy sanitary pads. And then the boyfriend tells them, ati kuja sleep with me and I'll buy you sanitary pads. Then wanalala pamoja, and then the girl got pregnant. And this is not just one girl, it's a story for quite a number of girls. The different places I've gone to, this, it's like the same story. And now she got pregnant, so she doesn't even now need the sanitary pads, just because the conversation imekwa hufai kwa ukiongea ama some male figures in the family, they're like, yoni conversation hawataki kusikia na wasiambiwe. So it's very sad. It's very sad. But anyway, topic of the day. I'm grateful for this opportunity and for what we're doing and for what Cortex is doing. It's just super, super, super amazing. And we just hope a lot of more people will come on board to support, you know, such good initiatives and such good plans and events that create awareness and, you know, deal with the misconceptions, and they just, you know, make sure there's clarity of information and the right information is given to these youngins. So there's just so much happening in Kenya, guys, as in clearly we are fighting a war, but we shall win. We shall. Some of the crazy stories we have, there's you know, we have so many stories, and like there's a particular girl, she wrote to say she has a mom, and the mom buys her these sexual toys to pleasure herself as a lesbian, and sometimes she even brings other ladies at home for her. So that was traumatizing, but at the same time I was like, this comes from a broken place, and even for the mom, she has to be dealing with a lot of things, and she has, you know, her own issues. For her to do this to someone who's in high school, and to, you know, she's advocating for it, she's like she's supporting and influencing a kid, because the child was like, you know, my mom is influencing me into this thing. Then I was like, this is interesting, but at the same time it's very sad, because, you know, you are hoping for moms to be the ones to protect their children, but I do understand we have moms who are broken in their own ways, and they end up, you know, pouring into their kids. So in high schools right now we have very high cases of lesbianism, and you know, everyone is fighting for their particular rights. But when you listen to all the stories, like, you come to understand that it comes from a place of brokenness. Like, you know, someone tells you, you know, my dad did A, B, C, D, and that's why I decided to, you know, to stay away from men, and decided, like, I'll just be having women, and I'll love women because men are a disappointment. And I do relate to all of this, because at some point in my life, coming from a broken home, I was like, with what I saw with my dad, at some point I really considered being a lesbian. And I even tried that out, because I used to get with ladies who used to really like me, and I was like, wow, I think this is something I could do. But then I came to understand this comes from a place of brokenness, and it's because of how I felt towards my dad that made me consider having a relationship with another lady. So that was quite interesting. But like I said, we have a lot of brokenness in us, and we have a lot of pain and hurt that we've gone through, and sometimes without even realizing it, we default to things which are not good or right, to deal with those issues. And it takes a lot of intentionality and a lot of honesty with oneself to realize this is the point of my pain and that's why I'm like this. But unless you're honest with yourself, you'll always think that it is okay and normal. But the reality is a lot of pain and a lot of hurt and a lot of brokenness tends to define us as people and also to mold us as people. So that has been very interesting. But it's a crisis in high schools right now, and even teachers and parents, they write to us, they're like, I don't know what to do about my child. I don't know, there's just so much that is happening. So we try to do good where we can, but you see, at the end of it all, it takes intention to change, and we can't force anyone to. So you make your own choice. We'll tell you what we know, you go do your research and decide for yourself. This life is yours, we can't leave it for you. So all we can do is just share our stories and try to do our best to take people down the right path and to bring light where there's darkness in different lives, and where there's maybe misinformation, we bring clarity of information and clarity of mind, and just to hope that people have a different mindset and a shift in what they want, what they love, what they desire, and how they think. Because I think it all begins in the mind. Actually, it all begins in the mind. So yeah, so it's been very interesting. And also drugs, yani, everything anyone is doing, there's always a backstory. There's the genesis of it. There's a genesis. So until we find that genesis, because even the students were telling us they're into drugs, it's quite interesting. Because when you listen, they're like, it's because they're depressed, they're sad, they're angry, they're not happy with their family, they're not happy with their circumstance, they're not happy with where they come from and their background. They feel like they want to fit in because everything they're looking at on social media is telling them this is what is cool and this is how you fit in. So most of the cases we've had, even the ones who brought for us the weed which they had in school, weed is Kush and Kush Tracey, damn. They're like, ati we smoke because tunataka kusahau shida zetu za home. That's how they say it. Tuna smoke sababu manze life ni hard, life ni ngori. But then when you start asking the right questions, unakam realize most of the time when I find life is so hard because they're trying to live the life they see on social media, and just because they're not able to live that life, they feel like life is very unfair and very difficult. So for them to cope, they resort to doing drugs and drinking. We're having even stories like some teachers are telling us their students wakitokanga shule kuna base wanaendanga ya kucheza pool na ya kukunywa wanashinda huko. So by the time mtu anafika home ni kama 4 asubuhi ama 5 asubuhi, na bado msee ni student anafai kwa shule by saa moja. So even for them, they don't know what to do because they try to talk to them, but our to vitu wanaona social media, the fact that uko na simu na unaweza buy bundles na unaweza enda place uingie kwa wifi uingie online, zile vitu wanaona social media zinawa influence mbaya. So if we can change their mindset, we believe we are able to do good and to have a better generation Z. I'm on a Gen Z things are gone. But yeah, I believe there's still hope, and no one is too far from restoration and redemption. So we'll keep on fighting their fights and just pray that God makes it possible for them to overcome the addictions and the struggles and the challenges, and to just heal those places in them that are broken, so that they're able to become better versions of themselves and make better decisions. So we can only hope. So hope over fear, a day, all the way. Yeah. Some of the best experiences is seeing the shift in the mindset. And for most of them, after we leave the schools, they're like, when we go home, we're going to look for you. I'm going to. So the messages which I get afterwards, like, there's something you said and I came to understand that is the problem I've been having. That's the struggle I've been having. And when I applied what you're telling us through your story and through what you came to learn about such a situation, it has helped me to become a better me, and it has made me not to feel guilty or to try to do things because of other people or because of the circumstances, but to be very intentional about everything that I'm doing. So those are some of the very amazing stories I get on a daily basis, that there's something which I said that left a mark in them, that gave them hope in a certain situation and enabled them to handle some of the difficult situations or challenges they were having in their lives. So I think those are the beautiful things which I love to hear. especially when they're now home and they're like literally applying that. So that has been amazing. So when it comes to the content that is online, I say this, even for me to change to become this version, if you knew my old version, I was, you see, all of these things which I'm saying right now, all of these things were who I was. Money was who I was. Where kisungu mkuti. But all of the things which I'm saying right now, the addictions, the sexual immorality, the promiscuity, the brokenness, all of that was me. So I'm not speaking from a point of guesswork. This is part of my story and one of the reasons as to why I'm doing what I'm doing, and also, you know, we're in partnership with different people to get this done. It's because I do understand how brokenness can lead you down a very dark path. And when it comes to wanting to become a better version of yourself, first you have to accept, yes, I'm broken. Yes, I'm struggling with ABCD. Yes, my life is not perfect. Yes, my home is not how I wanted it to be. Yes, my family is not exactly the perfect family. And after you accept, you need now to start working forward. If you feed yourself on garbage, you are going to produce garbage. They say garbage in, garbage out. If you listen to things which only glorify material things, that's what you're going to be. But if you start searching for the right things, the right messages, the right, you start seeking for healing for yourself. And that means listening to the things which matter online. If you're going online, tell yourself, as much as I like listening to things which don't really matter, but say every day 1 hour, if I'm online, I'm going to listen to things which matter. So you start from there. I feel like there's so many channels. Even for me, after I started looking for better content and content which could help me grow as a person, I did a lot of searching online. And I came to realize all of these things, they're there. But it's because we are limited to what we know. So we think vitu tu zenye tumezoea ndo ziko. So we don't really go dig deep to find that which really matters. But if you are intentional and you want to do better and become a better, you trust me, you'll find the right content online. Utatafuta mpaka uzipate. But I wouldn't say ziko few, but I think we need to normalize the conversation that stands for the right things. Because we've normalized the wrong things. So we need to start also normalizing the right things. So that's what wakiona, if you don't drink or smoke, it doesn't make you mshamba. Because say the mentality is, if you've not had sex and you're in high school, when mshamba. Me, I was even surprised, by the way. You're asking students, they're like, oh, the whole school is having sex. Form 1s, you can imagine like a Form 1. Kama toka tu, yani mtoi mless manze, anakwambia I'm having sex, I'm drinking, I'm smoking weed. Me, I'm like, I started doing these things after high school. So I'm even surprised by the time they're getting to campus, what will they be using now? What will they be doing? Apart from high schools, we had some teachers and even parents who are writing to us. They're like, my child is in primary school and all of these things they're doing. So they don't even know where to start. Because they're like, as parents, we're trying to tell them ABCD, but the internet is telling them XYZ. And for them, they believe the internet is bigger than their parents, and that's what they're listening to. So I believe we can still have fun as youngings. We can still enjoy life. We can still live life to the fullest, but let's try and do it the right way. I'm doing this for also my kids, man. I can't do the wrong thing and expect my kids to have the right things, yet I'm the one who helped to poteza watoto wa wenyewe. So that's how I look at it nowadays. So yeah, but it's pretty interesting. So interesting enough, when I was in high school, I never, you see, like for me, I've been of this other side, and I've done all of these things we are fighting against right now, right? The drugs, the promiscuity, and all of that. But when I was in high school, I never met a Kush Tracey who came to schools to tell me the reality of social media, drugs, and promiscuity, and all of these things. You get what I'm saying? Like, I never saw someone come in terms of, I was doing ABCD and they come and tell me truth. But most people used to filter and say the nice things just because they wanted to be liked. But they are not really speaking the truth of, you know, where they come from. You want people to see you as perfect, yet you're talking to people who have a lot of imperfections and, you know, in their lives. So I never met a Kush Tracey. in our time. And I was like, if I could go back, I'd wish that would be something that would happen. Like someone like me would come and be like, yeah, you desire all of these things, but these are the ills of these things. You get what I'm saying? Like, you desire followers. Yes, we have the followers, but listen, followers are not everything. You get what I'm saying? Being famous is not everything. Being known is not everything. You cannot be defined by people on social media. You get what I'm saying? And you can't find your worth on people and the likes that you get on social media. Otherwise, you live a very difficult life. But you see, for this generation, that is what matters. The likes, the following. That is what they want. It was so sad when you're asking them, Ati, what do you want? Ati, me, I want followers. Then you ask them, why do you want followers? To become famous. Why do you want to become famous? To make money. But I'm like, fame isn't equivalent to money. We've seen people who are very famous and they're known, but they don't have the money. So it's two different things. So the mentality that people have about this social media thing, it's also kind of crazy. So hopefully we get to tell them truth so that they have pure intentions, how they are going to use the fame that they have. Because you can do very bad things. You know, we've seen young people, you know, strip naked on social media just because they wanted to have a following and to have those likes. And of course, if you are a pervert on social media, you'll go and drop your like over there and put some crazy emojis over there and support all of that. But at the end of the day, we need to have a generation that stands for, you know, at least there is morality somewhere, you know, in between. We are hoping a generation that doesn't see going naked that it's the way to make it in this life. You know, we've normalized prostitution like to a point and yet as explain. And that is what the young girls, they're trying to get themselves into. They're like, I'll dress as skimpy as I can because I want the attention, I want the money, I want to be flown into countries. But then when you start digging deep and finding out the stories that happen when people are taken to these countries in the name of the high life, bro, it's better you have your kibandaski somewhere, make your chapos and madondo, sell, have your decent money and go home with your dignity. So it's crazy. So I'm really hoping we'll have a generation of even young women who respect themselves. Like I said, it's not about me, it's not about what I want, but at the end of it all, if we are honest, if it was your daughter who's doing all of these wrong things, will you be supporting her? Will you be asking God to step into that situation? You get what I'm saying? So it's easy to want to misdirect people for the gain of, for the sake of gaining money. And it's another thing when it hits home and then it's now you're dealing with your daughter who's doing all of these things. And you're like, I don't know what to do. Because do you know the saddest thing, we had a family, not a family. There's a woman in a WhatsApp group, aliandika, mtu aenda akachukue mtoi wake cause alikuwa anaona atamuua hiyo siku. Like mali mtoi wake alikuwa amemfikisha and it's her daughter. Alikuwa like, someone just pick this child today, otherwise I'm going to kill. And how many times have we had, whoa, wait, I've remembered the story. There's a school we went to, it's actually Migingo Girls. It's in, those sides for Kisumu. Migingo Girls. Even that story was not on the news, but ilikuanga kwa tabloids. So we met the deputy principal of that school. She was an amazing woman. And we got to talk to her girls, nini. But less than a month after we left that school, do you know that lady was killed by the son? The son alimfungia kwa nyumba akamuua na akamwacha. So the elder son is the one who went and found the mom dead. Now I think alimchoma, if I'm not wrong. She was burnt by the son. And the son was in drugs. You see these things which we are saying. Mtoi wake ako like around 30. Na niyo kulipuka kichwa. Akaenda akachoma madake. So for me, I had that story. It was very heartbreaking. Because I was like, this woman, as in for her heart is for these young girls to do better and not to get into drugs. That's why she let us go to the school and speak to the students. But then she was killed by the same problem we are fighting. By the son. You kill your mom because of whatever drugs you're using. Hey, devil is alive. But yeah. But so it's crazy. It's crazy. But I believe there is good that is being done. If we can save a few of them, but you know, we cannot save people. The only thing we can do is influence for good. Then the Lord will do the rest, clearly. So, you know, a lot of people ask me why I do what I'm doing and how was it possible for someone like me to change with everything. You know, you go on social media, when you Google my name, you might find a lot of nasty things and the wrong things which I used to do. And honestly, I don't even care about, you know, the judgment of people. Because I'm like, none of us is a saint. It's just that some of us, our sins are out there to be seen. Well, not all of them. But the things which we did wrong, they're out there because of the line of work we are in. And for a lot of people, the shift is what is hard, because it will take a lot of sacrifice of who you thought you are. You'll have to sacrifice some of your friends, some of the places you used to go to, some of the relationships that you had, if you want to change, because you can't be hanging out with the same thing that makes you sick and expect not to be sick again. And I think my story inspires in this way. For me, before I publicly got born again, publicly backslid, and publicly went back to the Lord. So it's been very interesting. But I feel like my story is a story of redemption, because we have a lot of people who feel stuck in the vices that they are in, and they feel stuck in the old version of themselves. And we have a lot of people who are like, me, I've done this and this, so there's no way I can become a better me. But I feel like my story brings hope into that situation. Like, regardless of what you've done, come on, I've done so many things which I'm not proud of, but you see, that's not who I am today. So if I can change and do better and make better decisions, so does anyone who's stuck in maybe a particular addiction or struggle that they're going through. So there's still hope for everybody. So for me, my story is hope. I'm like, none of us is too far gone from the grace of God to be saved. None of us is too far gone that they can't change their life and start doing better from tomorrow or today or even right now. So it's about that mindset. And also, people have to remember, you'll have a lot of people try to call you by what you used to do, because a lot of people, they're stuck in who they are, and change is very uncomfortable. Let me not lie to you. Becoming this person, it's very uncomfortable, because that means you go you move from everything that you've known, everything you thought you knew, and now you start walking a different path. So it's hard and uncomfortable, and I feel like a lot of people fear changing because of the uncomfortableness that comes with it. There's a lot of discomfort. It's like everything of yours gets shifted. So it's quite interesting, but I believe this young generation, there's still hope for them. Like, hope can never be too far gone. So that's why we do what we're doing. No one is too far gone. It doesn't matter what you've done, by the way. Hata kama hiyo kitu yenye umefanya sahi. It's okay. You can say, from now I'll start working forward and try to become better and do better and not make the same mistakes again. So my message is mostly hope, and anyone can change and anyone can do better. Yeah, you can still live a full life with better choices, and you can still become the best version of yourself. Your higher self, as they say. So